silent or vibrate, something along those lines, so they will not be bothering the rest of the procedures. And please, have a good time. We're about to begin. Thank you so much. Please, again, put your cell phones on vibration. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Paul Wallach, Vice Dean of the Medical College of Georgia, and it is my honor to welcome you to the hooding ceremony for the 179th graduating class of the Medical College of Georgia at Georgia Regents University. Please remain standing as I call upon MCG students to come forward and sing the national anthem.
So proudly we hailed at the twilight and bright stars through the perilous fight. Oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Provost Kaufman, Dean Buckley, members of the faculty, honored guests, decanal staff, friends, family, and members of the class of 2015 of the Medical College of Georgia at Georgia Regents University, the hooding of the 179th graduating class is now in session. Would everyone except for the class of 2015 now please be seated? So, dear class, this is indeed an auspicious event, one that would have been very difficult to reach without the support and assistance of family and friends. Would you all please take a moment and turn around and express your thanks to those who have supported you? Thank you, and you now may be seated. To family and friends, we at MCG also want to express our thanks for all that you have done for members of this class. 4 years ago, the class of 2015 entered this institution, hearts and minds ready to begin the study of medicine. The wonderful women and men of the class of 2015 have devoted themselves to the study of medicine, the care of others, concern for communities, and healing in its broadest sense. In addition to the task of successfully navigating a challenging curriculum, members of this class have volunteered locally and internationally. They have worked to feed the hungry and comfort those in need. More than half have participated in substantive research. All have provided caring for those who are ill and offered their own contribution to the healing of others. Each has continued to advance their own learning, fine-tuning skills, and gain greater understanding of their roles as physicians. Each recognizes that learning is a lifelong enterprise and has expressed commitment to that endeavor. These graduates will continue with residencies in 35 states and 18 disciplines. None of these students could have made it to this point without help. In addition to family and friends we have already acknowledged, we owe a debt of gratitude to two other significant groups. Without the patients who permitted you to provide care, to practice and learn, the learning of medical school would be impossible. So please remember the patients who permitted you into their lives, into their intimate spaces. As well, you have been fortunate to have a devoted faculty who have taught, mentored, encouraged, and supported you over the last 4 years. Would you please join me in thanking our faculty? MCG has a system of regional campuses. This year we'll celebrate with students, faculty, and staff of the Northwest campus based in Rome, Georgia, as we have our first graduates from that clinical campus this year. Class of 2015, the Medical College of Georgia is proud of you. It is our hope that you remain close, connected, and care about your medical school as you continue in your career. As you are about to graduate, you join generations of alumni who are leaders in their communities and innovators in the field of medicine. I have the utmost confidence that you will further their tradition of excellence in every pursuit, and that you will do so with the singular spirit of optimism that has long defined our MCG family. I would like to extend special thanks to all those who have assisted in planning this joyous event. Special thanks to the members of the orchestra who are organized by Dr. Robert Gibson and conducted by one of our students, Emily Peng, for adding additional beauty to this ceremony. Thanks to all the deans and staff of the Office of Student Affairs and Multicultural Affairs and Academic Affairs who worked so hard to prepare for this day. Special mention goes to Kim Loomer, Stuart Shevitz, Deb Pinion, Megan Gibson, Linda Kimberly, Jenny Caddick, Angela Scott, Elise Vega, and Charmaine Robinson. I'd like to thank you all for your dedication to the medical school, our students in this event. Special mention also to Albert Ha, who played guitar so beautifully for us, and to our students who sang the national anthem. And finally, thank you to Scott Henson, our Senior Director of Alumni Affairs, who helped in making so many of these arrangements. It is now my privilege to introduce the members of the stage party and other distinguished guests. Gretchen Kaufman, Provost and Executive Vice President for Academic Affairs at Georgia Regents University. Peter Buckley, Interim Executive Vice President for Health Affairs and CEO of Georgia Regents Medical Center and Medical Associates, and Dean of the Medical College of Georgia. James Olds, Assistant Director for the Directorate of Biological Sciences at the National Science Foundation. Wright Kaufman, Executive Vice President for Health Affairs and CEO of the Woodruff Health Sciences Center at Emory. Kimberly Vess Loomer, Associate Dean for Student and Multicultural Affairs. Jatinder Bhatia, President of the MCG Faculty Senate. Buffy Boyd, President of the Alumni Association and a member of the class of 1999. Lois Ellison, Medical Historian in Residence and Provost Emeritus, as well as Professor Emeritus of Medicine and Surgery and a member of the class of 1950. Barbara Schuster, Campus Dean of the GRU-UGA Medical Partnership. Pamela Witten, University of Georgia Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs and Provost. And Colonel John Bojeskel, Deputy Commander for Clinical Services and Chief Medical Officer, the U.S. Army Dwight D. Eisenhower Army Medical Center. As well, welcome to some very special guests, Mr. Stephen Scott, the Chief Operating Officer of Georgia Regents Medical Center, Dr. Jack Yu, Chair of Georgia Regents Medical Associates, Ms. Amanda Hopkins Terrell, Chief Operating Officer of the Physicians Practice Group, Ms. Maria Andrews, Director of our Charles Norwood VA, Dr. James Osborne, President and CEO of the MCG Foundation, Mr. Christopher Melcher, Vice President and General Counsel at GRU, Dr. Doug Patton, Chief Medical Officer of the Georgia Hospital Association, Dr. Julie Kaufman Barnes, Vice President for Medical Affairs at Redmond Regional Medical Center, Dr. Janet Memark from Wellstar Health System, the Medical Director of Community Health Clinics and Associate Program Director, Dr. Dan DeLoach of the class of 1974, Dr. Paul Ferguson of the class of 1963 and Chair of our Community Advisory Committee in Northwest Georgia, and Dr. Joe Bailey from the class of 1955. I am now pleased to introduce Dr. Gretchen Kaufman, Executive Vice President and Provost of Georgia Regents University, to extend her welcome on behalf of the university. Dr. Kaufman.
Thank you, Dr. Wallach, and good afternoon. And indeed, what a wonderful afternoon it is for us all. And the good news is that Paul has assured me that we should be out of here by 6 o'clock at the latest. But truly, this is a moment to savor. each and every one of you should enjoy every moment of this experience and those tomorrow, because you have truly earned it. There's already been thanks given and appreciation to various groups, and I just want to echo that on behalf of the university. We are so proud of you, and we realize that you did not do this in isolation, and we really appreciate not only those who stood behind you and beside you and with you along the way as your parents, your sons, your daughters, your big brothers, your significant others, but also our faculty who truly do give their time, their effort, and their hearts to you over these past 4 years. And I know I speak for them when I say we are so happy to welcome you now as our colleagues. It is truly a celebration, and you'll get that as a recurring theme throughout today and tomorrow. It's a celebration of achievement. It's a celebration of all that has happened to get you to this point. But I also think of it particularly as a celebration of potential, because you are now poised to do wonderful things. We appreciate all that you've already done, but we know that there will be much greater to come. Nobel laureate and physicist Albert Einstein said a lot of pretty smart things, but there's one quote that I particularly like of his, and it is, "Strive not to be a success, but rather to be of value." Strive not to be a success, but rather to be of value. I think all of us, and I dare say we're in a room of pretty much super type A folks, and so it's hard not to focus on success, on that next thing that you'll pin as being a success. But I would urge you going forward to shift that focus slightly, because success can be ephemeral. It can be fleeting. And I can guarantee that your definition of success will change as the years go by. But rather, I would urge you to approach every situation with a question: how can I bring value? How can I leave a lasting legacy that gives more than it was when I came to it? You're part of a proud legacy, as you have already heard, that spans now nearly 2 centuries. The Medical College of Georgia is a wonderful institution and part of a wonderful larger institution, and it endures. That comes with privilege. It also comes with responsibilities, and I know that you are more than up to that awesome responsibility. So once again, it's my pleasure to be here with you. I congratulate you, and I welcome you to this wonderful family of alumni of the Medical College of Georgia Regents University. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Kaufman. Dr. Peter Buckley has served as Dean of MCG since 2010. Prior to that, he was chair of the Department of Psychiatry here at MCG, after serving in a similar capacity at Case Western Reserve University. An internationally respected researcher in schizophrenia, a talented psychiatrist, and a caring mentor, Dr. Buckley brings enormous skill to his role as dean, and he has overseen a period of unprecedented growth for MCG. It's my pleasure to introduce our dean, Dr. Peter Buckley.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. Okay, that is better. The class of 2015 need to stand up again. And you do need to once again thank all your family for the amazing support they have given you. Please take a seat. I, like Gretchen, will be less than 3 hours too. So, it is a great day to be with you. It's, of course, a day of firsts for you, but it is also another year of firsts for our institution. And we're particularly proud of the class of 2015, which we believe achieved several firsts. First of all, almost 99% of the class matched, which was well above the national average. 30% of you are staying in Georgia, which is above our usual rate for Georgians. You matched in 18 specialties. You're going to 35 states. 40% of you are staying and working in primary care. And we're particularly proud, as a first time ever, we believe that 1 in 5 of you will be staying at our institution for our residency. We also note that our statewide strategy of regional campuses is taking hold, because this year we celebrate at both ends. We celebrate the first cohort to graduate from the Rome campus, and we celebrate 10 years of the Albany campus. And we celebrate the maturation and great partnership that we have with University Georgia in Athens, as not only do we have the second cohort, but we also represent, in partnership with St. Mary's Hospital and with our colleagues UGA, we represent the extension into the next stage of training with graduate medical education. It's also not a first for our institution, but it is a first in a long time. We launched a strategic plan that will give a roadmap for our institution. And you need a roadmap to be prepared for the things ahead of you. And last week I had the opportunity to be in Washington, and I was thinking about you graduating and thinking, you know, you will be well prepared for whatever comes your way. And this is something that we hear from alumni across the state and across America. And so I was reminded, because I came across some information about a Dr. Charles Lyell. And Dr. Lyell graduated from Georgetown, and he was 6 weeks a doctor when he went to the theater one evening and he witnessed the assassination of Lincoln. And he actually was the doctor that removed the bullet from Lincoln and that also nursed him right to the end of his days. So imagine 6 weeks out and being faced with that as a doctor. I do hope you don't have similar circumstances. I do want to make that quite clear. But you are trained for every eventuality. And as you reflect on that today, be grateful for what a fantastic opportunity you have now. This is a fantastic moment. It is a watershed in your career. It's a watershed in the lives of your families who have toiled and supported you for so long. But of course, it is only just part of a journey, and so you will now begin the next phase, and you will need to learn your craft further. You will be resident doctors and doctors training your specialties, and so you will need to continue to do that. And all of us continue to learn, whether it's through maintenance of certification, reading the literature, or learning from our peers and colleagues. You are embarking in the next phase of medical learning. As you do that, I believe that your patients will be your best teachers. And so don't just focus on the disease. Learn about their circumstances, learn about the totality of their situation, and listen to them, because they will provide you with the wisdom that at this stage of your career you are less endowed with. Your patients will also provide you with great moments. They'll provide you with great moments of sadness, and they'll provide you with great moments of joy. And they'll also thank you for your care, and you need to recognize that. You need to tuck that away, because there will be hard times along the road where bad things will happen, and despite your care, bad outcomes will happen, and people will die, and people will suffer tragedy. And it's good to, in those times, reflect on opportunities that you've had where people have valued you as a doctor, because you will be questioned as to whether you have skill when you experience professional adversity. So take the opportunity to tuck away good comments that come your way over the years, and I believe many will come your way. But as you do that, remember that you are held in high regard by society, but you are only as good as your professional behavior. So it's important to hold the profession of psychiatry, I'm a psychiatrist, the profession of medicine, hold it in high regard. You'll hear Dr. Schuster pronounce the oath fairly shortly. That is a solemn event, and you will be challenged throughout your career to live up to that. But society expects that you will. And society also expects that you'll be more than just competent. Society expects that you'll be compassionate, you'll be kind, and you'll also be visible in your community, because you are being endowed not just as a doctor, but as a leader in each of your communities that you will go to. So please do show up, please do be a leader, and please remember your alma mater. We are fortunate to have great alumni. You'll hear from Dr. Buffy Boyd shortly. And as I began my remarks, I would like to remind you that we are all across the state. I'd like to thank our campus leaders, Dr. Schuster, Martins, Dr. Rentz, Dr. Simmons, and Dr. Reeves, each of you overseeing each of our campuses. I'd particularly like to thank Dr. Schuster for being the founding dean of our campus in Athens. At this stage, it gives me great pleasure to formally introduce our Hooding speaker. It's Dr. James Old, who is Assistant Director of the Directorate for Biological Sciences for the National Science Foundation. This is a powerhouse for America. The BIO does important work in supporting research that advances the frontier of biological knowledge and increases our understanding of complex systems, as well as providing a foundation and theoretical basis for research that affects many other disciplines. And Dr. Olds is remarkably well positioned to serve in this distinguished national role. Prior to this, he served for 15 years as the Director and Chief Academic Unit Officer for the Krasno Institute for Advanced Health at George Mason University in Washington. And many of you will remember the seminal project, A Decade of the Brain. That was actually begun under his leadership, and it was fundamental to shaping the current President Obama's Brain Initiative. Not surprising, Dr. Olds serves on numerous public and private bodies, and he's particularly interested in the interface between the corporate world and the federal world, and he himself has played a central role in the scientific development and public policy at a number of levels, not just at the federal level, but also within the White House and also advising to several countries across the world. He received his undergraduate degree from Amherst College in chemistry and his doctorate from University of Michigan in Ann Arbor in the field of neuroscience. His postdoctorate research at the National Institute of Health led to advances in understanding the molecular basis of memory and learning, and he received a very prestigious NIH Merit Award in 1993. So, ladies and gentlemen, talk about brain power. I give you Dr. Olds. What a privilege. Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon?
Good afternoon.
That's more like it. It's great to see so many smiling faces. You are at the culmination of a major professional achievement, and I'm pleased to be here to celebrate your hard work and success, along with you and those who are close to you. I want to speak with you today about the long-standing connection between the science of biology and the practice of medicine, starting with the history of their association. I believe that some of the most recent trends in that connection will lead to major changes in how your generation of physicians will practice medicine. Early in the 20th century, biology emerged from 19th century natural history and physiology, about the same time that the journal I edit, the Biological Bulletin, commenced publishing. For much of the 20th century, biological science advanced around the goal of controlling living systems with an eye towards improving agricultural practices and human health. While agriculture adopted the use of pesticides and breeding to improve crop yield, in medicine, antiseptic surgery, vaccination, and antibiotics, as well as public sanitation practices emerged. In 1912, the biologist Jacques Loeb, then at the Rockefeller Institute for Medical Research, it later became Rockefeller University, published The Mechanistic Conception of Life. This work helped to shape 20th century biological research through its emphasis on reductionism, experimental science, and the engineering of ideal control. Loeb argued that biological inquiry aims to establish numerical relations between an experiment's conditions and its effects, and results in complete control over organisms and organic processes. As we now know, particularly at the molecular level, there is a stochastic component to life's mechanisms, randomness. Nevertheless, Loeb's framework was extremely useful. His assertions were consummated in the advent of molecular biology in the mid-late 20th century, advances such as DNA sequencing that were critical to the progression of medical research. Today, 21st century biology seeks a broader and more integrated understanding of living systems, one that spans scales of time and space, and moves beyond pure reductionism. And the outcomes of basic biological research influence the ways we think about and approach issues of human health. For example, we are just beginning to appreciate the diversity of the human microbiome, the collection of 100 trillion microorganisms that inhabit the human body, and how the sharing of genes among these resident microorganisms by the process of horizontal gene transfer contributes to human health and disease. We have discovered that traits such as virulence, antibiotic resistance, and xenobiotic metabolism can spread through the human microbiome by horizontal gene transfer. Moreover, horizontal gene transfer in humans is enhanced among bacteria that share the same body site, oxygen tolerance, or ability to cause disease. Indeed, we see 25-fold more horizontal gene transfer between human-associated bacteria than among ecologically diverse non-human bacteria. Think about how medicine will change when we understand the rule set that governs how a patient's microbiome affects her health. The engineering approaches of synthetic biology also illustrate the innovative application of 21st century biology to human health. An example of how synthetic biology can translate fundamental knowledge into potentially useful therapy is demonstrated by antimicrobial peptides. AMPs are short, natural, corkscrew-shaped chains of amino acids that kill gram-negative bacteria. Biologists discovered that AMPs modified by special marker molecules can penetrate and kill cancer cells. These AMPs target and damage cell mitochondria, which have double-layered membrane similar to that of gram-negative bacteria. Researchers started by using a left-handed corkscrew-shaped AMP called clac-clac2, which is the natural conformation of the peptide. However, cancer cells eventually became resistant to this AMP. To make the molecule more difficult for cancer cells to resist, they built a synthetic, right-handed version of the AMP molecule, D-clac-clac2. The right-handed AMP not only killed cancer cells, but was also an effective drug against antibiotic-resistant gram-negative bacteria. Future medicine will not only be personalized, it will be engineered. My last example illustrates the often surprising connection between fundamental biology and medicine. This one, discovered in bats. Bats provide American agriculture with an estimated $22.9 billion, that's with a B, dollars per year in natural insect pest control. Recently, an emerging disease called white nose syndrome has caused a regional collapse of the common North American bat populations. A closer look reveals a fundamental connection with human disease. Hibernating bats experience low temperature-induced inhibition of their immune response, resulting in unchecked colonization of their wings, ears, and muzzle by the bacteria G. destructans. When bats emerge from hibernation and return to euthermia, the sudden reversal of immune suppression results in intense neutrophilic inflammatory response, a cytokine storm, resulting in severe pathology that can cause death. The bats experience a form of immune reconstitution inflammatory syndrome first described in HIV-infected humans. In humans, restoration of adaptive immunity following HIV suppression by antiretroviral therapy can trigger severe immune-mediated tissue damage that can also result in death. As medicine evolves to face the challenges of future infectious disease, the coupled complex adaptive systems of pathogen and host will need a better theoretical underpinning to knock down diseases before they become pandemic. In each of these examples, fundamental biological research has provided the new insights needed to better understand human disease. There are many additional examples of how fundamental research motivated by the simple desire to understand living systems has led to unexpected and game-changing outcomes. Did you know DNA fingerprint analysis, widely used for identification and diagnosis, began with the discovery of a thermophilic bacterium in the hot springs of Yellowstone National Park? The subsequent isolation of the heat-stable Taq DNA polymerase enabled the precise amplification of very small amounts of DNA by the polymerase chain reaction, or PCR, an essential step in DNA fingerprint analysis. Today, any student of introductory biology has used Taq DNA polymerase for a PCR laboratory exercise. And yet, that discovery led to fundamental, unexpected improvement. To the students, the class of 2015, soon to be doctors sitting before me, when you get hooded, let me offer this precautionary tale of unrealized expectation and unintended consequences. Both biology and medicine have entered the new era of big data, the acquisition of large collections of complex, linkable information. One of the first big data achievements was the completion of the first human genome sequence in 2003 after 12 years of public and private effort at a cost of around $2.7 billion. The unrealized expectation, more a hope really, was that the complete human genome sequence would immediately reveal the genetic basis for many diseases and eventually lead to personalized therapies tailored to an individual's genome. Even now, however, effective genome-based therapies are very few and remain unrealized for major diseases such as cancer. Indeed, the rapidly expanding acquisition of genome sequences from different types of cancers has only confirmed our long-standing observation that life is complex and messy. The large variation among cancer cell genome sequences, even within the cells of a particular type of cancer, often obscure the genetic causes of most cancers and a complex background of genetic mutations. Still, I do not mean to imply that there is not hope. The potential strength of big data lies in finding associations, the signal within the noise. Mining big data is not without its challenges, however. These include overcoming selection bias, identifying confounding variables, and avoiding poor or absent generalizability, just to name a few. The 2013 National Research Council report, Frontiers in Massive Data Analysis, offers this precaution, quote, "It's possible to turn data into something resembling knowledge when it's not. It's difficult to know when this has happened," unquote. Demonstrating that these data have meaning remains the problem and province of fundamental research. That is the mission of the place I work, the National Science Foundation. And these investigations need to occur at an increasingly rapid pace. One of the consequences of the genomics research I've described was the stimulation of new technology that resulted in rapid, reliable genome sequencing at low cost. Today, that initial human genome sequence, as well as many others, it could be obtained with better accuracy in about a day for about $1,000. So what does this all mean to you? As you may know, I'm a neuroscientist. My research interests lie in the basic molecular interactions that subserve learning and memory in healthy brains. My sister is a psychiatrist at Harvard Medical School. We had 2 brain scientists for parents, so you might say we went into the family business. Over the years, we've had many conversations about how medicine has evolved since she received her MD in the early 1970s. Her own professional trajectory exemplifies this evolution. She is now a founder of a tech startup. That's in addition to continuing to see patients. Think about those 2 skill sets and consider the implications for the future of your chosen profession. My own belief is that many of you will practice medicine in ways that couldn't have been conceived of just a few short decades ago. So this is a really exciting time to begin starting your careers. Finally, I want to congratulate you on what you've achieved. You worked hard, persevered through challenges, accumulated a ton of knowledge, and now it's time to celebrate. Celebrate your accomplishment with loved ones and family. The next steps, those can wait until tomorrow. Good luck to all of you, and safe travels on your future career paths.
During this segment of our program, we have the opportunity to recognize several outstanding members of our faculty and our senior class. I'd like to call to the podium Dr. Stephen Lucas, Dr. Lisa Leggio, and Dr. John Odom. If you could all please come forward. Earlier this year, the class of 2015 selected members of the faculty to receive Educator of the Year awards. In making this decision, the class considered faculty who are exceptionally dedicated, knowledgeable, and skilled in teaching medicine. The Medical College of Georgia is pleased to honor these faculty members at our hooding ceremony this year. In comments from students, these individuals are noted to have demonstrated compassion, caring, and extraordinary rapport. Each took extra time with students to enhance learning. I ask Dr. Buckley to join me and assist in giving these awards. First, Dr. Stephen Lucas. Dr. Lucas is a graduate of Harvard Medical School. He completed his internal medicine residency and chief resident and pulmonary fellowship at Duke University. At the GRU-UGA Partnership Campus, he started by facilitating small groups, and now is the clerkship site director for critical care medicine. He is widely recognized by his students as an amazing teacher and role model. Thank you, sir. And next, I call Dr. Lisa Leggio. Dr. Leggio received her medical degree and completed her pediatric residency at the Medical College of Georgia. She then joined the faculty in the Department of Pediatrics. Her enthusiasm and commitment to education is clearly appreciated by her students and by her faculty. During her tenure on faculty, students have selected pediatrics as the outstanding teaching department 7 times, in part due to her leadership. She has received the Distinguished Faculty Award for Clinical Science Teaching and the MCG Exemplary Teacher Award. This year, she was also honored to be inducted into the Gold Humanism Honor Society. Dr. Leggio. And now, Dr. John Odom. The Medical College of Georgia has a most unique resource on one of its regional campuses in a faculty member, one that was not educated or trained by us, but one that fully embraces our mission to not only train our medical students, but to provide them the best educational experiences that will catapult them into their residencies and their career. Dr. Odom has been teaching our students for 8 years, mentoring them in the hospital and inviting them to his home. He takes extraordinary interest in teaching his students in any venue, including, I'm told, in the car between hospitals. He has a genuine interest in students as people first, not only as future physicians. He continues to maintain communication with his students long after they have left the campus and entered into residency. A voracious reader, an outdoorsman, yet an incredible ballroom dancer, Dr. Odom is known as an outstanding mentor, colleague, and friend. Overall, these physicians have consistently embodied the attributes of outstanding educators, and it's my pleasure again to present these individuals as the outstanding educators of 2015. I now invite Dr. Kimberly Vess-Loomer, Associate Dean for Student and Multicultural Affairs, to the podium to present the Physicians' Physician Awards. Dr. Loomer.
Thank you. The Physician's Physician Award is presented to a graduating medical student who demonstrates the greatest aptitude for and devotion to the profession of medicine. This year, the Augusta campus voted for the individual who they would most likely seek out after appropriate training as a personal physician. There was a tie for first place in the election. The individuals chosen this year have demonstrated empathy, grace, and teamwork throughout their clinical training. It is my pleasure to present this year's Physician's Physician Award to Jennifer Kelly Anderson and Daniel Johnson. Congratulations, Kelly and Daniel. I now call on Dr. Jatinder Bhatia, President of the Faculty Senate, to make presentations for the Leonard Tao Award recipients.
The Leonard Tao Medicine Award recognizes the ideals of outstanding compassion in the delivery of care, respect for patients, their families, and healthcare colleagues, as well as demonstrated clinical excellence. This year, 2 students and 1 faculty member were selected to receive the award. The awards are sponsored by the Arnold P. Gold Foundation. It's my pleasure to welcome Pooja Chibrolu, Russell Ledford, and Dr. Cheryl Newman Whitlow to the podium to receive these awards with our deepest congratulations.
Our students and faculty have many talents beyond medicine. It now gives me great pleasure to introduce John Caldwell, the class of 2015, who will play an original composition on his guitar. And you're receiving a guitar. Thank you so much. It is a great personal honor for me to introduce Dr. Lois Ellison, a 1950 graduate of the Medical College of Georgia, medical historian in residence, provost emeritus, professor emeritus in medicine and surgery. For over half a century, Dr. Ellison has been a devoted advocate for MCG. It is my pleasure to ask Dr. Ellison to educate us on the tradition of hooding. Dr. Ellison.
Thank you. As the medical historian in residence of the Georgia Regents University, it is my honor and privilege to present a brief history of the hooding ceremony of the Medical College of Georgia. The Georgia Regents University Medical College of Georgia was founded in 1828, with the first graduation in 1833. But the custom of wearing caps and gowns was not begun until 1899 commencement. At that time, long black Oxford gowns and mortarboard caps were worn by both the students and the faculty. Prior to 1951, MCG gave only MD degrees, with the exception of degrees in public health from 1924 to 1932. Hooding was done at the time the graduates walked across the stage to receive their diploma. But with the establishment of other schools and degrees and the increase in the number of graduates, this was discontinued, and the graduates wore their hoods in the procession. The MCG class of 1977 expressed a desire to have a hooding ceremony separate from graduation. The first ceremony was held at the Thunderbird Inn, which is now our Alumni Center. And this was done at the time of their traditional senior banquet. Only graduates and their spouses and a few select faculty attended, but it was a big success, and the class of 1978 decided to continue the ceremony in a more formal way with a speaker. I was honored by delivering the address on this occasion, which was held at the Westlake Country Club. That was 37 years ago. Yes, I said 37 years ago. And it has, in addition, it has been my privilege to present the hooding tradition in the program every year since 2001. Thank you, Drs. Wallach, and Schuster, and Buckley, and Jeanette Bollerton, and all the others of you that have put up with me during this length of time. The ceremony continued to grow in significance as well as size, and it was decided to have a formal afternoon ceremony the day before graduation and to invite all faculty, parents, other relatives, and friends. The numbers attending outgrew the previous locations, including the beautiful First Baptist Church, where it was held for a number of years before being moved to the Bell Auditorium in 1984. This year, as you know, the program has been moved to the Augusta Convention Center. Now, I have a special message from myself to the class of 2015. And this is from my heart to your heart. As the hood is placed on your shoulders, be always reminded of the great tradition of the physician. May you experience the thrill, joy, and satisfaction that come from service to humanity. The Georgia Regents University and the Medical College of Georgia are proud of you and will always be with you wherever your journey leads. What a privilege it is for me to say, on behalf of our wonderful, wonderful faculty, best wishes to each of you, the wonderful class of 2015. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ellison. Now is the time in our program when we individually present academic hoods to members of the class. Graduates will be called up alphabetically by their deans and will be hooded by members of the faculty chosen by students of each campus. Dr. Buckley, Dr. Schuster, Dr. Catherine Martin, and I will have the privilege of greeting each graduate after placement of the hood so that we can wish them well. I'll ask Drs. Buckley, Schuster, and Martin to please join me in front of the stage on the left, and I'll call upon Drs. Kim Veslumer, Stuart Shevitz, Andy Albritton, Scott Richardson, Wayne Rentz, Sandra Mobley, and Leonard Reeves to call students forward. Student marshals, will you please direct the first group of graduates toward the stage?
MCG provides a distributed model of education with students learning in diverse clinical settings ranging from small town solo practices to complex care facilities across the four corners of our expansive state. The class of 2015 is comprised of students who have trained all over the state, including the first graduates from our Northwest campus based in Rome. We are honored to hood all of our MCG graduates. It is my pleasure to join with colleagues to introduce the members of the MCG class of 2015. Jeffrey Alstead. Summer Aldrew. Jennifer Kelly Anderson. Aubrey Armento. William Douglas Baker. Danielle Elizabeth Bear. Daniel Ray Bolu. Carmen Gabrielle Black. Evan Keith Brady. Brian Richard Broach. Elliot Boyd Burdette. Mary Elizabeth Burris. William Brian Bush. Benjamin Rhett Butler. Austin Joseph Kale. John Price Caldwell, Jr. Nair Canton Vafabash. Anna Carol Carter. Lindsay Page Carter. Christopher Youngs Kaufman. Amanda Claire Chafin. Alice Chan. Andy Ling Chang. Pooja Chabrulu. Hannah Cho. Curtis Howard Cleveland. Zachary Aaron Cabo. Caroline Grace Colden. Catherine Crow. Aaron Cunningham. Carolyn Cutler. Lauren Cherie Daniels. Kimberly Mylandow. David Brooks Duff. Robert Hunt Dunlap III. Joseph Duong. Alexander James Eason. Rachel Elizabeth Elam. Christopher Lee Ellington. Thomas Julian Ergen. Eric Randall Ewing. Hunter Allen Faircloth. Nasser Fakhri. Zachary James Farmer. Amina Farouk. Fiyin Fawole. Ope Fawole. William Lee Forehand III. Evan Hamilton. You get to go twice. Evan Hamilton Fountain.
Christopher Miles Fowler.
Diana Markovno Friedland. David Allen Gay. Ryan Harkins. Amber Stanley Henson. Zachary Samuel Hoffman. Maria Christina Isawas. James Alexander Isom. Jenny Jha. Daniel Lee Johnson. John Wesley Johnson. Stephen Michael Johnson. Thomas Michael Johnson. Matthew Creighton Jones. Hannah Joshi. John Michael Kelly. Susan Kim. Amel Komich. Morgan Elizabeth Lane. Mary Carol Francis Lee. Anna Legostov. Stuart Anthony Lane. Nate Lebu. Austin Comer Lively. Amir Ali Makmobaf. William Lloyd Mansour. Rachel Marks. Christopher Martin. Manaj Matthew. John McCaskey. John Bates McCutcheon. Janelle Ann McGill. John Mercado. Shweb Mohammed. Benjamin Douglas Moser. Justin Bowen Neisler.
Oh, Kevin Nesbitt.
Okay. Kevin Nesbitt. Casey Lynn Newbern. David Ty Wynn. Joseph Blake Norman. Adati Ifoma Okwanko. Alexandra Ann Alney. Christabel Chidunso Osakwa. Florence Otiano. Harshang Patel.
Reena Manhar Patel. Jordan Johansson Patton. Catherine Leah Porosky. Jack Raymond Pines III. Mitra Dean Porat. Michael Richard Powell. Harry Ross Powers.
Eugene Ajay Kwarshi. Samuel D. Quaynor. Karen Rucker. Harishma Gantla Reddy. Lael Suzanne Ronstatler. Emmy Michelle Rendon Pope. Congratulations, both of you. Thank you. Harold Philip Ribner. Devin Rogers. Jeffrey Mark Reichman. Yolanda Roberta Salford. Erica Danielle Satt. Lydia Williams Searcy. Shady Vida Shams. Hey, Rebecca. Rebecca Sid Shaw. Robert John Shelley, Jr. Okay. Tiffany Garshing Shu. Pia Anishka Shindasi. Thomas Christopher Smith. Robert Vaughn Starling. Sandra Elizabeth Stepp.
Lindsay Ann Sternod. Jacob Aaron Schwartz. Allison Joyce Tamanay. Daniel Tannenbaum. Brandon James Taylor. Joseph Spears Tingen. Catherine Laura Tyson. Cindy Tan Tran. Evan John Van Persum. Victoria Claire Vaughn. Christopher L. Wallace. Sarah Jo Witherington. Jennifer Renee White. Michael Brogdon Whitlow. Garrison Patrick Weir. Ashley Marie Wilson. Suki Kayung Yoon. Lydia Song Humans. Michael Young. Megan Lindau Yu. Quincy Zong. Chelsea Ferguson Zimmerman. Rita Priscilla Jin.
Roberto Aguilera. Theodora Lee Brandon. Brian Nicholas Brewer. Wesley Nathan Bryson. Nicholas Gaston Callahan. Rocco Joseph Canestraro. Sylvan Charles Cox. Soumya Dave. Logesh Dharmar. Jeffrey John Donahue. Can I do it? Yeah. Joanna Beth Eldridge. Christina Lee Falkenstrom. Nicholas Scott Fitzpatrick. Gregory Scott Foster. Monica Denise Gavaler. Nigel Stephen George. Natalie Nicholson Giles. Alexander Guile. David Gupta. Christopher Demarius Jackson. Evan
Gregory Jones. Jennifer Margaret Kent. Boris Vladimir Kovalenko. Russell Warren Ledford. Ari Samuel Levine. Brett Alexander Magner. Matthew Reese Emmanuel Meng. Andrew Lamar Miller. Sagal Yusuf Mohammed. Thomas Anthony Ollinger. Courtney Petit Rabin. This may be the first time I've seen everyone's middle name. That's right. Zachary Williams Rome. Allison Charuf Rook. Michael Hugh Schechter. Benjamin Parker Smith. Lindsay Etheridge Sweat. Don't say the J, right? Eric Wang. Whitstadt Alexandra Whitaker Lee.
David Apatoff. Andrew Chi. Angela Claire Coker. Drew Alexander Gwynno. Andrew Tyler Heffernan. Jessica Brooks Howell. Heather Corrine Jacot. Emily Ann King. Morgan Lee Montgomery. Kanya Morton McCarthy. I can do it. Ziad Nazrawi. Nara Santosh Reddy. Brent Andrew Sager. Michael Thomas Simmons. Claire Bray White. Daniel Andrew Wilkinson.
Donna Marie Bichet. Alea Justeja Butler. Zachary Derek Hudson. Bing. Michael Thing Pham. Gloria Jean Sayer. Sarah Zaday.
William Harding. Sung Gon Lee. Elizabeth J. Schmidt. Anne Louise Stagel. Bianca Marie Whitten.
Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, the class of 2015. The Hippocratic Oath will now be administered by Dr. Barbara Schuster, Campus Dean for the GRU-UGA Partnership Campus. Dr. Schuster. Barbara.
It is really a privilege to be here with all of you this afternoon. Less than 4 years ago, I was able to welcome a medical partnership class to Athens. And as is my nature, I presented them with a book and inscribed it. And I welcomed them into their medical career. At the white coat ceremony later that fall, you all took as a class a student oath. Today, we really have you coming into the profession, and we welcome you into that profession. It is a very serious profession and one that I would never have given up and will never give up. I never look back and regret my decision. And as you enter our really wonderful profession today with an oath, I hope you too can stand up here 30 years or more from now and say the same thing to a medical school class. So before we say a version of the Hippocratic Oath, let us remember that we're not quite sure who wrote it. We think it was Hippocrates. It may have been a member of Hippocrates' group. It has also been changed over the years, so we will not read the original Greek. That will help us understand what we're reading. But it has been updated and changed when needed. So I just wanted to have you take a look at a couple things before we actually say that oath together. There are 4 things that we will be talking about in this oath. One is the sacredness of the patient-physician relationship. We must never forget that. You remember your first patient? It was your cadaver. I see some smiles. And then you move from your first patient into some simulated patients, and from there you went to the hospital floors. And that ability to touch that first cadaver, and then touch your simulated patients, and then touch somebody who didn't feel well. Now it's all in your hands. Nobody will be looking over your shoulder. The loyalty to the profession includes the passing on of your art and the skill to others. And in a minute, we will see the many people in this auditorium who do just that as volunteers on our faculty. The profession of medicine is to be used for good and not evil. And we must rethink things that have happened over the years, like physicians in their work in the Holocaust or in the genocides of today around the world, or even as we think about executions. Where does our Hippocratic Oath fit into that? And we must remember that it is really about caring for the patient and not just curing. So there is a page in your books. It's page 6. And I would first welcome all the physicians in the room, our clinical, our full-time faculty, our parents who are here as physicians, to please rise and join us. And then I'd welcome the class to join us, so that everybody who is here to reaffirm their oath to the profession of medicine and to the class who is about to take it. Please rise. And we'll say it together, slowly. I do solemnly swear by that which I hold most sacred, that I will be loyal to the profession of medicine and just and generous to its members, that I will lead my life and practice my art in uprightness and honor, that into whatever so home I shall enter, it shall be for the good of the sick and the well to the utmost of my power, and that I will hold myself aloof from wrong and from corruption and from the tempting of others to vice, that I will exercise my art solely for the cure of my patients and the prevention of disease, and will give no drugs and perform no operation for a criminal purpose, and far less suggest such a thing. That whatsoever I shall see or hear of the lives of men and women, which is not fitting to be spoken, I will keep inviolably secret. These things I do promise, in proportion as I am faithful to this oath. May happiness and good repute be ever mine. The opposite, if I shall be forsworn. Welcome to the profession in medicine, and may your career be as wonderful as those that the faculty, your clinical faculty, and your parents have been able to enjoy.
Doctors, you may be seated. Thank you, Dr. Schuster. It now gives me great pleasure to introduce to you Dr. Wright Kaufman. Dr. Kaufman is Emory University's Executive Vice President for Health Affairs and CEO of Emory's Woodruff Health Sciences Center, which includes the schools of medicine, nursing, and public health, research center, and clinical facilities. Dr. Kaufman previously served as Emory's Vice President for Clinical and Academic Integration, Director of the Emory Clinic, Executive Associate Dean for Clinical Affairs, and Chair of the Department of Dermatology. Dr. Kaufman joined the faculty at Emory in 1990 after serving as medical officer and principal investigator in the dermatology branch at the National Cancer Institute of the NIH. After receiving his undergraduate degree at Davidson College and his medical degree from the Medical University of South Carolina, he completed a dermatology residency at Harvard Medical School. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Wright Kaufman.
Thank you and good afternoon, especially to the members of the class of 2015 and also all family members, faculty, and friends. I'm grateful to be here as a parent, but also one of the profession in which you have entered. It's a great day for celebration. Each of you that are graduating and your families should be proud of all you have accomplished to date in your lives, both academically and personally. You have been relentless in your pursuit of excellence and the highest performance of all that has been set before you. And your professional lives will reflect that for the rest of your professional career. The Medical College of Georgia at Georgia Regents University is indeed fortunate to count you among their alumni. Your medical school curriculum has changed greatly since I was in school, thankfully. In my day, it actually may have been possible to learn, or at least be exposed to, all that was known, by virtue of the fact that there wasn't that much known. Today, what is known and what we thought was known is changing rapidly. You have responded by becoming continuous learners, understanding that to be a great physician, you must never stop learning, which is all the course better for our patients. And much is changing in the healthcare environment. I'm confident you will respond to those changes and lead through them as well. You're smart. Change is inherent in all that we do, and you will embrace it, master it, and lead it. As the master of aphorisms, Ben Franklin, once said, when you think you finished changing, you're finished. But there's one essential dimension of becoming a great physician that will not change. It is the embodiment of the timeless quote nearly 85 years ago by Dr. Francis Peabody in his commencement address to the Harvard Medical graduating class in 1926, and was posthumously published in the New England Journal of Medicine, The Care of the Patient. That quote is that the secret of patient care is in caring for the patient. That quote encompasses in so many ways the essential aspects of what is referred to as the art of medicine. Bernadine Haley, former head of NIH, described 4 principles of that art: mastery, individuality, humanity, and morality. Mastery, not just experience, but expertise. Not just knowledge, but wisdom. Not just rote learning, but creative curiosity and thinking. Mastery encompasses the humility to listen and the studiousness to always learn and question. Individuality. While there are many diagnoses, there are far more patients that you will see. Never let a diagnosis arrest your thinking. You could be wrong, or you could be right, but you may have not taken into account the individual who is your patient. Any individual is always changing, biologically and emotionally. Focus on the individual as you manage your patient. Humanity and morality go hand in glove. Be human. Relate with empathy to your patients. Imagine what it's like for you to be your patient. Connect to the whole person. Through that lens comes the morality incumbent among us all. The relationship demands integrity and compassion. With these principles of the art of medicine in mind, what are some of the timeless tips that we have learned, you have learned from our teachers in the clinic and at the bedside, and most importantly, from our patients over the years? First, sit down when you talk to your patients. Don't impersonally talk down to them or about them as if they were not human, just a disease or diagnosis. Each one is someone's mother, father, spouse, child, sibling. Respect them as if they were yours. Take the time to look them in the eye, listen to them, and then listen again. Laugh with them when you can. They're vulnerable and likely need a little dose of warmth and humor when it's possible. Likewise, commiserate, comfort, and reassure in their times of sorrow and anxiety that you are there with them. Touch them, not simply in the course of your exam, but with compassion and care when you are listening and talking. Always be knowledgeable, as you can be, but when you don't know the answer, don't fake it. Say you don't know, but you'll try to find out. Always be honest, but with compassion. Say you're sorry when you should be. Respect all of your colleagues, whatever their role in the delivery of care to patients. You are a member of a team. Treat all of them as you would want and expect to be treated yourself. Most important, always be cognizant of this. Vulnerable and sometimes very frightened people who were previously totally unknown to you, and sometimes not you to them, are coming to you willingly to bear their bodies and their souls, their symptoms, their signs, their psyches to you, seeking your help for them as a person. Why do they do this? Because they trust our profession, and they will learn to trust you unconditionally as you live the oath that you have just taken, to serve them above all personal self-interest, to help them as best as you possibly can, no matter what. Honor and value that trust that is placed in you with respect and humility, and as you've just sworn, enjoy the privileges and rewards of our profession. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kaufman. It now gives me great pleasure to introduce the student presidents of this class of 2015 from the Augusta campus, Leo Reinstatler, and speaking first from the GRU-UGA Partnership Campus, Michael Schechter.
I'm honored to be here speaking on behalf of the Athens campus. When I started preparing for this speech, I began thinking about the name of this ceremony. Hooding is the placing of a hood over the entire head of a prisoner. That is the first sentence in Wikipedia when you search for hooding. It goes on to say that it is considered to be an act of torture and a common prelude to execution. Fortunately for us, our hooding ceremony is quite different. In my next Google search, I read that it formally acknowledges our achievements and, through the administration of the Hippocratic Oath, reminds us of the high standards of performance and behavior to which we aspire and with which we are challenged as we enter upon professional careers as physicians. We come from a varied background, but our paths converged when med school began. 4 years and 3 names later, our paths are about to scatter again, but as a class, we've grown into men and women who are ready to take this next step in our careers. Together, we are joining the ranks of those before us, connected by the skull and crossbones that symbolizes our institution. These last 4 years have allowed us to build relationships that will last a lifetime. We have survived this journey together, and throughout the stress and struggle of it all, we've created bonds that can never be broken. Med school has a tendency to throw a bubble around you if you let it, and I think many of us became aware of it every now and again. It changes your language and can alter your daily interactions with family and friends. While this bubble is an integral part of what has made our class bond so strong, we must never lose sight of the big picture, that we are in this profession to serve others. As Hippocrates once said, wherever the art of medicine is loved, there is also a love of humanity. Med school is tough. At times, it may have even felt like torture. Yet, med students are achievers, and we are here today, united by a common cause, celebrating that which we have most recently achieved. It becomes easy to lose sight of how impressive your classmates are when the bar becomes elevated and the new average by which you compare everyone to has become all the more extraordinary. I want to brag on some classmates here. As physicians in training, my classmates have been able to attain goals in other realms of life outside of medicine, including art, science, family, and athletics. Some of my classmates balanced the responsibilities of medical school with a family life. Some got married, and some have had children throughout this journey. We have accomplished writers, musicians, and athletes amongst us. All this is impressive when you take a step back and see it for what it is, these achievements during medical school. But as achievers, it is not easy for us to always acknowledge our accomplishments, whether inside the classroom or out, because the process of improvement requires a certain focus on our weaknesses. Nearly masochistic, we torture ourselves to be better, to improve upon our faults, and to search deep within to find them. But today is a day of celebration. Today marks the first day we can begin to look at each other as doctors and marvel at our accomplishments thus far, taking a break from the constant process of improvement we all pursue. Hooding may be better known on the internet for being a torture method, but today we celebrate not the prelude to an execution, but the prelude to our careers. Thank you.
Hi, guys. My name is Lael. It's really an honor to be able to speak to you today. I'm definitely not qualified to talk to you unless sending 1 million annoying emails over 4 years qualifies me. And so maybe that's why I'm here. The past 4 years of medical school have been something. You fill in the blank. Exciting, exhausting, challenging, terrifying, heartbreaking, slow, fast, and then it's over. And we're on to the next chapter. And the next chapter is an adventure for me, too, and I don't really have any words of wisdom for you, but I have some things that I hope for you and some things that I hope for myself. The first of these is I hope that you remember where you came from. Not like Jenny from the block, but remember why you wanted to go to medical school in the first place. What did you write about in your personal statement? What did you talk about in your interviews? What did you think about when you were studying for step 1 all those hours? And when you're on a 36-hour general surgery call shift, just trying to get those hours to pass by faster. What kept you going? That's what I hope you remember. Most of you know my story. Most of you are her friend on Facebook, and you follow her dancing, fashion, and business trends. Her name's Kara, and I remember being young and being the patient and hearing scary words like Down syndrome and esophageal atresia and ventricular septal defect. And now I've said these words so many times over the past 4 years that they've lost their fear factor. And I don't know if you know, but I kept a little picture of her in my white coat for 4 years. And now it's faded and the edges are fraying. And it's because sometimes I just needed to lean in and touch it or pull it out and look at it. And you just need to remember sometimes that thing that inspired you and why you wanted to be here in the first place. Because it's not always easy and you need a little inspiration. On the other side of that, I hope you remember what it's like to be a patient, because you are a patient, and one day you'll be looking up at a long white coat. You'll be on the other side of it, so don't forget what it's like to be the patient. Next, I hope you remember to smile and to laugh, because a little smile and a little laughter can go a long way. This is such a serious profession, but doctors can be funny too. I heard a story once of a little old couple who went to visit their family physician. The old man couldn't hear very well, so he brought his wife along with him, and he was listing all his complaints. The doctor's taking notes, and he's like, all right, I think I know what your problem is, but I'm gonna need a urine sample, a stool sample, and a semen sample. And the old man's confused, he can't hear anything, so his wife leans in and goes, he wants your underwear. That's not a real story. But I'm just showing doctors can be funny too. Next, I hope you remember to cherish your families and your friends. Look around you, look at your peers, look at your audience. There is so much love and support in this room. Don't forget that this isn't a solitary journey. You didn't walk this alone. You are loved. Don't let the next few years of long hours and horrible working conditions take that away from you. Remember your family, cherish them, don't let them go. And most importantly, I hope that you find happiness. As our beloved Dr. Fisher, the Fishman, said once, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. So I really, truly hope that you love this profession. And in doing that, I hope you never, ever work again. Congratulations, guys, we did it.
Thank you, Lael and Michael. It's now my pleasure to introduce the leader of our Alumni Association, Dr. Buffy Boyd, in the class of 1999. Buffy.
Thank you. We're almost to the end, to the celebration, the real celebration. My name is Buffy Boyd, and I'm a member of the class of 1999. It's my honor and pleasure to represent the Medical College of Georgia Alumni Association. We want to congratulate you on your hooding today in preparation to receive your doctorate degrees tomorrow. We wish you the most success in your professional and personal endeavors. I am here today to induct you, the class of 2015, into the Medical College of Georgia Alumni Association. The Alumni Association was established in 1891. Our mission is to support the interest of the medical school and to foster loyalty and fellowship among its alumni. We are dedicated to achieving this goal through scholarships and activities with students. You may not remember this, but you started your journey here at the Medical College with the Alumni Association at the Freshman Brunch, and you're ending it with us here today at the hooding ceremony. We also sponsor faculty recognition and alumni awards for professional achievement and loyalty. I hope that one of you in the crowd today will be one of those recipients in the next 30 years or so. We also sponsor regional dinners, CME events, and the Alumni Weekend. It is now my esteemed privilege, on behalf of the Medical College of Georgia Alumni Association, to induct you, the class of 2015, into the Alumni Association. There will be no membership dues for the first 5 years while you complete your training, but we do want you to know that the Alumni Association is always here for you. You can contact us here at the office on campus at any time. Feel free to visit our website, and I hear we have a Facebook. I'm not keen enough to get on that, but please go there. We hope that you will keep us apprised of your new addresses and email addresses so that we can let you know all the great things happening at MCG. The Medical College of Georgia has always enjoyed a great reputation for training exceptional doctors. My experience with your class is that that tradition is alive and well here today. I know that each of you will be an outstanding physician and will continue to represent the Medical College of Georgia well. When you look back at the events of the last week or so, you will realize that you just completed one of the best weeks of your life. You will wish that you could go back. You got to see all of your classmates, which you haven't seen in several years because you've all been all over the state. You've learned where they're going, what they're doing. You learned who's getting married. I bet you there's probably about 10 or 20 of you out there getting married shortly. But when I was in your shoes, I failed to appreciate the opportunities that my degree from the Medical College of Georgia would afford to me. You are about to embark on one of the most amazing careers known to man. It's intellectually challenging, gratifying, and demanding. It's humbling and satisfying at the same time. For your parents, I want to let them know your children have chosen a profession that is relatively recession-proof. There are always sick people that need doctors, and there will always be jobs. But you will come to find out that you actually need those patients in your life as well, because that is the most gratifying part of our job, is interacting and touching people. I would like to challenge you to remain engaged in the Medical College of Georgia and to be supportive, not only financially, but with your time. Your involvement will help ensure that our students continue to receive the same excellent training that you have received here. I would also like to take this opportunity to urge you to become involved in organized medicine at the local, state, and national levels so that you can be the leaders that shape and guide medicine as it continues to change. Once again, on behalf of the Alumni Association of the Medical College of Georgia and for myself, we would like to congratulate you on achieving one of the most laudable goals known to man. In closing, I would just like to welcome you as my colleagues, because you're no longer students, but as my colleagues, to the family that is the Medical College of Georgia. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Boyd. It's now my honor to introduce Colonel John Bajeskal, Deputy Commander for Clinical Services and Chief Medical Officer of the U.S. Army Dwight D. Eisenhower Army Medical Center. 6 members of the class of 2015 are Health Professions Scholarship Program participants, and they will take their oath of commission today. We are so pleased to have Colonel Bajeskal join us today to administer the oath, and we're very proud of our graduates who will serve in our armed forces. Will Brent Sager, United States Air Force, Ari Levine, United States Air Force, Matt Meng, United States Air Force, Christopher Martin, United States Navy, Andrew Miller, United States Navy, David Nguyen, United States Navy, and Brent Sager, United States Air Force, please come to the podium.
Good afternoon, graduates and doctors. Congratulations. Today, I have the great honor and dignity to introduce to you guys our new Armed Force officers and doctors. Oath and tradition is a big part of the military lifestyle, and today you guys have the ability to witness one of our finest traditions, and that is administrating the military oath of office. Before I go forward with the military oath of office, I would like to take a moment of silence to remember those who have gone before us, those soldiers, airmen, sailors, and Marines, and their loved ones. Today, before we start the oath, I would also discuss the Constitution of the United States. The military is unique in that it is subservient to a civil authority. Additionally, the military takes an oath of office to the Constitution to defend it, not to any person, entity, or organization. So, for all the graduates who are listening, now I'm going to read the entire Constitution. Actually, what I want to do is just re-educate everybody on the preamble. And the Constitution is a very succinct document, and so is the preamble. And it begins, "We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America." Additionally, everyone here serves. You all will also serve another calling. And one of my favorite quotes is from General Douglas MacArthur, and it's duty, honor, country. Those three words readily dictate what you ought to be, what you can be, and what you will be. I'm going to be administrating the oath right now. Throughout the oath, I will ask you to state your name, state your service, so it'd be Air Force or Navy, as well as stating your rank, and I will acknowledge when the time is appropriate. So graduates and new doctors and new officers, come to attention and raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Having been appointed an officer in the state your service of the United States in the grade of state your rank. Captain and lieutenant. All right. Do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign or domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservations or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office upon which I am about to enter. So help me God. Ladies and gentlemen, your new Armed Forces doctors.
We are almost finished. Doctors of the class of 2015, please accept my very best wishes for a life filled with joy, peace, fulfillment, contentment, and the sense of making a personal, positive difference in the lives of others every day. As we approach the conclusion of this ceremony for the 179th graduating class of the Medical College of Georgia, just a few closing thoughts. As a community of scholars and learners, faculty and students, We arrive at this day together with great pride. With confidence, we send you forth as graduates of MCG. You are well prepared for the next stage in your education. As you go forward, I ask you to commit yourself to the highest professional and ethical standards, to render to each person the dignity that is rightfully theirs, to be compassionate to those in need, and to remember with pride the Medical College of Georgia, as we proudly will remember you. Provost, deans, faculty, staff, distinguished guests, graduates, parents, and friends, this concludes the hooding ceremony. You are cordially invited to a reception in the courtyard immediately following. Please remain in your seats until the stage party, faculty, and graduates have completed the recessional. Dr. Baccia? Great job. Hang on. Peter?